Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
All right, Coach KJ, let's get this shit started. Let's get
All right.
getting all settled in over here.
I know, right?
Welcome y'all to another episode of Sipping on Excellence.
You know, we got lights.
We got stuff now.
We're slowly but surely.
We bring in this new year this past year to a close in a good way. We got a couple more episodes before we go on hiatus for a couple weeks, and then coming back strong.
I know.
You know, yes, y'all get a break from us, but remember to always go hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends.
Still gonna be posting videos,
you know, and also send us some DMs to, ask us questions.
Yeah.
You guys start sending us enough questions, we'll answer a few of them before we get to the podcast. We'll answer a few of them now.
Maybe.
Oh, no, we're going to do it, sort of.
Maybe. If.
But, yeah, that's what keeps us going, man. We need y'all to don't keep it to yourself. Share it,
Yeah.
Everybody needs this medicine.
You better get into it.
Something
Feeling a little aggressive.
Something wrong with this dude. Something is absolutely
Something's
wrong.
always wrong with me, dog.
What you feeling aggressive about today, man? You all right?
I'm good. I'm good. What's up with you, man? Let's get this podcast thing going.
Shit.
Love, subscribe. Yeah. You got it. All right. So what's up with you, man? What's happening?
Nothing, man. Just trying to take over the world one day at a time.
Okay.
Every day I get a step closer.
I feel like Pinky in the brain over here.
That's what you got to do. Nah, man. Life is good, man. I can't complain. Just wild what's happening with this shit in the news.
All the shit in the news.
Yeah, but what's interesting with insurance companies have now come back to the forefront. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed, even so, like today, man, it gets so irritating how these companies dictate the life of people.
Yeah.
Like telling me, I had this one patient I was supposed to operate on yesterday. Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to operate on today.
Oh, okay.
The insurance company was like, he needs 6 weeks of physical therapy or conservative care. They denied it because today makes it 2 days shy of 6 weeks. So they denied this dude surgery.
That is so fucked up.
And they told me that on Friday. They told me that on Thursday. Like, by the time Monday comes, he'll be still 2 days shy of 6 weeks. So we can't. The computer algorithm won't let us approve it.
So the computer controls how you operate.
Yeah.
Your
so
business.
they're like, so because of that, it goes to physician review. So you have to cancel his surgery.
So also it goes to physician review, which that means you, and you're saying
Not me. No.
Oh, okay.
Physicians that work for them review, and then they would have to talk to me and find out why I want to do certain.
They know better,
dude. This is the insurance world, man, and it's getting worse and worse every year.
Or like a little kid says, worser and worser.
Oh man, it's ridiculous.
I can only imagine.
And then on the other side of it, you have these idiots out there that are like, doctors and hospitals are the problem.
Of course.
And, surgeons and doctors are overpaid. And my response to them is, am I overpaid when you're laying on your back, looking up to me, wanting me to save your life? Are you wondering how much I'm making then, or are you just hoping that my skill and my hands are going to be good enough to do the job, regardless of that price. It's always the people that don't need you that say we're overpaid. Kind of crazy, right?
Right. They're dictating the lives of others.
Well, no, I mean, and the people that are complaining are the ones who's never needed the healthcare system.
Right. Until they need it.
Oh, no.
Because they're going to need it.
Or it's, oh, it cost me so much to get this medication. Yeah, I feel you. That's got nothing to do with me. I'm just telling you what you need. Go fight your insurance in the pharmaceutical company, not me. You think I shouldn't be paid. And I'm always like, well, what's your life worth?
Mm-hmm.
Your life worth discounts? Mm-hmm. Your health? We talked about this before, about we don't give discounts. But yet in the service industry, everybody wants to pay less for your service because they don't see it as something tangible. They see that Birkin bag is worth it because they can take it home. They don't see the fact that they get to go home as even more worth it. It's kind of crazy. But I spend more time dealing with crap like that.
That sucks.
Than anything else.
What your job really entails.
I spend probably equal amounts of time taking care of patients and taking care of the paperwork to make the insurance companies take care of patients.
Which is probably why the days that you do have surgery, you're in a zen.
Oh, it's like, because most people don't know what it took for me to get them there.
Yeah.
They think they show up to the doctor's office. He says, I need surgery. We pick a date and it goes. That's because the patient has nothing else to do but show up,
Well,
I just needed a moment to get that shit off my chest because today was just a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah.
And of course, end of the year.
Well, yeah, it's just a lot of these insurance companies, they cut back on what they cover, but yet they raise premiums on patients every year. So every year they pay less and collect more.
So it's going like this.
Because all they care about at the end of the day, it's a business and they care about their shareholders and nothing else. I'm going to tell you now, you guys, your insurance company does not care about your health. They care about how much they have to spend on your health. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why they don't like a lot of these wellness programs.
No.
Like a lot of corporations are going to wellness programs, and a lot of them, some will say, "Okay, we'll attach ourselves to it," but there's some that are like, "Yeah, no."
The insurance companies like it because the healthier you are, the less money they have to kick out.
Correct.
Pharmaceutical companies hate it.
That's what it is, yeah.
But insurance companies don't want to pay for wellness programs because that's just one more thing. Because then everybody's going to sign up. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to use it as a cover. That's why most insurance companies don't cover acupuncture. Or not to an extent where it's worthwhile. They cut down the reimbursements on physical therapy. They cut down the reimbursements on everything conservative care.
Yeah.
And
you wonder why a lot of, especially physical therapy, has become so cookie cutter.
Yep. Or they just don't take insurance.
Yeah.
And they're going to get to the point where people are just going to be like, you can't pay for your care, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, because you're going to need me.
Oh, for sure. You're definitely going to need me at some point. And so why not keep them away from me as long as possible by paying the people that can keep them out of my hands?
Right. And you're one of those people I definitely know. You're not trying to cut on everybody.
Nope. And it's crazy because since they don't get paid enough, these insurance companies, these physical therapy companies have to do volume. Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine sent them to go get therapy at this place, and they had their initial eval and then their first therapy session. Mm-hmm. You know when their next therapy session was scheduled?
A month later.
3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, my prescription says twice a week.
Yes.
For 6 weeks. And in that 6 weeks' time, she's going to get 3 therapy sessions. And most patients don't say anything because they think that's just what it is. But my friends will tell me. So I call up these therapy companies and be like, you know what? I get it. You guys are busy. So you guys are too busy for my business. So I'm going to send my patients to physical therapy places that are less busy. No, doctor, we'll get your patients in. Oh, so you can get them in now.
Right.
Now that I've threatened to take all of my patients. But that's silly that you have to do that. I mean, it's crazy. I've had patients that have had to sue or, threaten to sue insurance companies to get surgery. I've had 3 of them, and these insurance companies don't want that litigation. What they really don't want is the press that comes from litigation of not paying for anything. So they eventually say, fine, go do it. But what they'll do is they'll authorize, I saw this today, I have a handful of surgeries that were authorized. We did the surgery, and then retroactive, they took away the authorization, so they don't pay it. Yeah.
That's dirty.
Then they'll say, send us more information, and then they say, well, we're not going to pay because of timely filing. You didn't file your claim in a timely fashion, so we're just not going to pay for it. I have like 5 surgeries right now that we're not paying.
Wow.
So what do I do?
What do you do?
You bill the patient, and you tell the patient, now you complain to your insurance company. Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to pay for it. It's not going to be free.
Right.
And you go to the insurance company with this authorization that says, I authorize this surgery, and the bill, and be like, I will put this in the paper.
Absolutely no problem.
Or you give it to your lawyer and say, fight this. But I shouldn't have to be fighting it. You got the service, and I'm not allowed to not do the service. Yeah, it's crazy.
And all someone wants to do is just be healthier.
Yeah.
Just be healthier. That's it.
Here's the funny part, man. We were talking about earlier. All these people are so up in arms about doctors making too much money, but every last one of them are afraid to die. So when it's getting close to that time, then all of a sudden, I need you. Yeah, I get it.
Funny thing is what you said. When it's getting close to that time, we don't know what that time is.
Exactly. But they feel like it.
Right.
Now you need me. Cool. That Birkin bag can't save you, can it? That new Mercedes can't save you, can it?
When you think of death, what song comes to mind? What's a song that comes to mind?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Ready to Die.
I don't have
Biggie.
one. Yeah, I mean, but I don't have one.
Yeah. Or Bone Thugs.
Crossroads.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's another question. We talk about being ready to die versus being okay with dying versus having a fear of death. And a fear of death comes in many different forms. Think about it. You can have a fear of your career dying.
Correct.
You can have a fear of your relationships dying. You have a lot of people have a fear of their singleness dying. That's a word. Some people look at marriage as death. Death of the person you were,
right?
A rebirth of the person you are. You know, some people fear that. I don't want me to die. You know, and then in general, it's the big question I ask people. I throw it at them, just to throw it at them. Look, are you afraid to die? They're like, I don't want to die. I didn't ask you if you wanted to die. I asked you if you were afraid to die. And here's another question. When you're in the grieving stage, of somebody in your life passing away. Are you grieving for them, or are you grieving for yourself?
You're really grieving for yourself.
Explain.
You're grieving the physical of that person being there and your ability to connect with them. You're grieving the thoughts of not having a conversation with that person because that person was important to you. Not necessarily the loss of them, but what you're not able to get from them for yourself.
I think one of the biggest reasons why people grieve or sad initially is because they feel they left something unsaid and undone. They're like, oh, I didn't get the chance. Oh, I didn't do that. They'll never say it outright, but it's like, they're not here. And I needed to say this, or I needed to give them this, or I needed to tell them this, or I needed them to have this part of me. Or I needed them to give me one more thing. You know what I mean? I needed them to give me a little more love. I need them to give me that one last conversation. But yet, they weren't willing. They took all those conversations for granted. They took that time for granted, meaning I didn't say it, or I didn't do it, or I didn't ask for what I wanted from them while they could give it to me. And so, especially if you know the end is coming and it's not a tragic sort of unexpected loss, people start trying to get it in all at once. Yeah. Kind of like people always say, give them their flowers while they're still around. Yeah. You know, say what you would say at their funeral to their face while they're looking at you. You know? And so that fear of dying, I think, comes as well from I haven't done enough yet, or I haven't done this yet, or I haven't done that yet. Somebody asked me that, are you afraid to die? And I said, no. I don't think about it, but if I were to think about it, any uneasiness would come from not knowing how. Like, the way it happens is what I fear most. I don't want to drown. I don't want to burn. You know, I don't want it to be painful, but do I fear not being here? And I can honestly say at this stage of my life, no, because I don't feel that I'm leaving anything undone. So I don't have that fear that a lot of people have. You know, a lot of times you'll see elderly people who will say, I can go anytime, it doesn't bother me, until it's presented to them. And then you see I'm not ready yet, or I don't want to have surgery because something bad might happen. What if I don't wake up? That's always a fear of these older people.
Yeah. I mean,
and if you're afraid of not waking up, why? Because what haven't you done yet?
My great-grandmother, when she, God rest her soul, she was so funny. At 92, she's like, I'm ready to go.
Some people just get tired.
10 years later, she lived to 102.
She wasn't quite ready.
She wasn't quite ready. Mama Lola. Mama Lola was a G, man. She lived on her own street. The street was named after her. You drive down Lola Lane to her house. God bless her. Right. She had already, the wheelchair, the immobility. She was just ready. But have you ever, going back to the grieving, have you ever had to grieve for someone?
Yeah, but I think for me, and maybe this is the robot side of me, my grief is brief. Like somebody passes away, I feel it. I'm like, that sucks. But all right, this is the circle of life. Boom, on to the next. Mm-hmm. Like when my grandmother passed away, she was 92, 93, somewhere in there. I don't do funerals because for me, funerals are pointless. Funerals are for people to get out what they needed to get out before this all went down. To me, people wailing, and I don't need that. Wasn't going to go to my grandmother's funeral, but I ended up going because I was like, my mom, if you want me there, I'm coming. She said, yeah, I'll come. And it was more so, making sure my mom didn't fall apart because this is her mom. Mm-hmm. For me, I was like, she's 92. She lived a good ass life.
Right.
There's nothing I needed to say to my grandmother that I didn't get out the way years before.
Yeah.
So
what's a trip also is, especially older people, they know when they're going.
Yeah.
My grandmother, my mother's mother, she was, God rest her soul too, man. She was a G. She was hardcore. And so as time goes on, she's getting older. She was rough. She was like she'll snatch, and she was strong.
Yeah.
So when that strength left her, when that ability to move left her,
right,
and she's walking out, she trips. Next thing you know, she breaks her ankle. She gets an infection, and this infection goes on for a while, within months.
Yeah.
But what was a trip about her was the night, I want to say a night or 2 nights before she passed, she was really, really sweet to my mother. You've been so good to me. You've been so amazing. I love you so much. You're so dear to me.
She's getting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 nights later, I think she pulled the shunt, but the shunt in her arm, she bled out.
She's ready to go.
Yeah, she's ready to go.
Yeah.
But, like from myself.
Do you fear dying? Are you afraid to die?
I'm not afraid to die. I've never even thought about it. And when we talked about this conversation months ago.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm okay. Like you said, I don't want to get hit by a car, go flying off the bridge, off the 405, right. Or what I mean.
And I ain't ready. And I'm not ready to die.
No, nobody's ready, but
I don't fear it.
I don't fear it. I'm continuing to live my life, enjoy my life as is. I've learned to love unconditionally. I give love. I'm good. I'm happy.
I think I've seen so much of it.
Yeah.
That how you get to that point is a little daunting. But being at that stage to me is not. I think, having looked the devil in his eyes a few times, in my life makes me realize, it doesn't bother me. I say I'm not ready because I know there's still some things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. I won't say there's things that I need to do, but there are things that I want to do.
Absolutely.
There are goals that I still want to accomplish. But if tomorrow never comes, I've done a shit ton for this world. And this world has given a shit ton to me. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is at that point. I'm like, you know what? On to the next, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I think people fear. Here's another thing I think people fear death because nobody knows what's next or if there's next. But you have to realize, and this is my concept of how I think of it. Our life is, or your soul, your spirit, your energy. I mean, everybody knows energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes. And so how I keep my mind going is that, okay, this body's going to end. Where's it going next?
The soul of the body.
Do I believe in reincarnation? I believe there's something. I think the life force continues on somewhere, somehow.
Absolutely.
I just don't know. And the beauty of it is not knowing. I'm like, cool, another adventure. And the reason why I say that is I told you about the book I was reading, the Tibetan book on living and dying.
Correct.
And the story of the little girl who kept telling her dad, I want to go to this house in the neighboring town. I want to go to this house in the neighboring town. Finally, one day he takes her there and she's like, I used to live there. She's like, no, you've lived here all your life. Walks in the house, walks over to the mantle. There's a picture of a little girl on the mantle. She's like, Daddy, that's me. And that little girl had been killed in a bus accident years before, like got hit by a bus, whatever it was. And it's a story that's told all over the place, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it. And the family, she's like, my name was such and such. That was my room over there. Had never been to that house before. So my thought process, and this is how I kind of think about things. Where do you think deja vu comes from? Like, I feel like I've been here before, when it's someplace you've never been.
Well, think about we all have brains, but think about the mind, how we form things, thoughts, beliefs, energies, systems. Everything in our life surrounds the mind. People say, oh, your brain. Like, no, it's your mind. But what's the mind?
Your conscious and your subconscious.
Yeah. But what physically can you attain it to? Like how the mind works? No, you can't. You can't.
You have electrical wiring.
Absolutely.
Where that computer system, controls the rest of the body, etc.
Left brain, right brain.
Right. But the concept of thought, there's a billion people out there that think they can understand that concept. They don't. We don't. Our limited use of our brain doesn't allow us to wrap our heads around the idea of what is thought. What is consciousness? What is the subconscious mind?
Yeah.
Why is it that we see and hear things when we're not looking at them?
And it's studied over and over and over. Why does foreseeing who you want to be and you living in that space, how that works?
Oh, I just manifested it.
Yeah.
Well, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And so you can't tell me that just goes away when you take your last breath.
Absolutely.
I refuse to believe that. And because I refuse to believe that, I don't believe in heaven and hell. I think those are man-made concepts. I think religion is a man-made idea. It doesn't mean I'm an atheist. It just means that what my definition of God is very different than white Jesus on a cross. My definition of God is us, is our collective spirit.
Yeah.
I think because there's no other way to define God, but it doesn't have to be a single entity. It is what makes the world turn, is what makes the universe go.
Yeah.
It's
like that a Dinker symbol, was it Ngayan, where it means omnipotence to God. It's like it's omnipresent. It's all around us, through us,
in us.
Yeah.
Yes. So when, because I grew up reading the Bible, grew up Seventh-day Adventist, grew up in religion, but there's a reason why it doesn't make sense. And there's a reason why, if you look at religion across the board, everybody basically believes the same thing. They just call it different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because everything about humanity and about being in the human space we're all very similar in the way we think subconsciously. How we interpret that subconscious thought and make it conscious depends on the stimulus from the world around us.
And it's crazy how no matter what, all those religions, all of them are based in life, the beginning of life, and death. Mm-hmm. The functionality of all of it.
And I'm going to have you fear death so I can control you in life. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny because I look at medicine and how we take care of people. And I tell people all the time, you know, our lifespans are way different than they were in sort of like the Middle Ages. And that's due to advances in medicine. But that being said, are we living longer or dying slower? You know? And we reach a certain point where we're just dying slower because people stopped living a long time ago. Mm-hmm. You know, or people never knew how to live.
Which is why we always talk about surviving.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'm just surviving.
Because people don't know how to live life. They survive life or they go through the motions, but they're not really living, you know? And I think the people that fear dying the most are the people who haven't learned how to live. It's that simple. So what living means to you is going to be very different than what living means to me. How do you feel alive? What makes you feel alive?
Living.
Yeah, right?
No, seriously, it's getting up and not knowing what's going to happen in the day and just seeing what happens. Just going through the experience of it all. Because every day there's something to be learned. Absolutely something to be learned.
For sure.
From anybody, everybody, from watching a kid walk into a store to watching how people drive, and you're like, oh, I'm not going down this road because this is how they drive at this time of the day, blah, blah, blah. How do we form all those thoughts wrapped around that? I'm just enjoying life and cruising. And
there's some parts of life you won't enjoy,
right,
but you're still living it.
Right.
I tell people I feel alive because I have the ability, I get the what's the word I'm looking for? The pleasure, the privilege of living a life that can go through and experience every single emotion. Can go through and experience anger, love, you know, all these things, you know, that lets you know you're alive because you can feel all of it. Mm-hmm. We're not walking through life numb to it all. A lot of us will ignore it all or suppress it all, but you still feel it. You just don't express it, you know? And so for me, being alive is not knowing if tomorrow's coming. Yeah. That's the easiest way to feel alive. Absolutely. Is to not assume that you will be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
That gives being alive a whole different meaning. And when you're young, that never crosses your mind. So we blow a gang of shit when we're young. Mm-hmm. If teenagers could grasp the concept of tomorrow may not come, or if they could grasp the concept, if kids could understand the concept of I might not see my mom tomorrow, they would treat their parents different.
Mm-hmm. My car accident I had in college, it was so bad. Coming home from Howard's homecoming, it was so bad. I remember waking up like, oh, glass in my head, you know, from the windshield. I'm like, had a rough time getting when I got back to school, but after a while and kind of sat in, this one I knew I had the ability to just kind of be able to, okay, what's going on? What's happening? Dial it in. What's going on? And realize like, oh, I almost died. Oh, let me start taking better advantage of these opportunities that are right here in front of me. School, the people I meet, the people I'm dating, or whatever it is. Let me enjoy more of this. Let me massage it a little bit more, because let me tell you, you never know. You're not promised anything.
Yeah, and I can say there's probably twice in my life where I had been in so much pain that I was like, you know what? If it ends this right now, I think I'm ready. Seriously, I was just like,
yeah,
it needs to stop right this second. Something's got to give, and it was, granted, it was short lived, but it was still there. And it was so very real that I didn't say it out loud to anybody. I just laid there and I was like, yeah, this, I didn't feel like it was it. I was okay if it was.
Right.
I was like, either get rid of this or get rid of me. In that moment, I wasn't asking for it, thank God, but it was. I see why people go through those moments, because you don't see a way out in that moment. My brain couldn't wrap around the fact that this was going away. And it was only for, the first time, it was for an hour. And I was just like, yeah. The second time was a slow sort of, I feel really bad. And I keep sinking into this bad place physically that just, I was like, this ain't good. To the point where when I got on the other side, I was like, if I had to go through this again, I told my brother this, if I have to go through this again, I'm not doing it again. He's like, yeah, you will. I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, we will let it take its course. And now I'm probably not that stupid, but at that point in time, I was like,
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. And so,
how long of a frame
was that second time that I feel that way?
Yeah.
Probably a couple months.
Wow. Woo. Yeah.
Where I was just like, dude, this is fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And do I have to go? And the only reason why I was like, I have to go through all this, because I had way too many people dependent on me to be here. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go through this shit, because this sucks. But I look back on it now, and people say, at what point would you say, yeah, I'm not doing something? And I was like, you know what? I will be here as long as my mind works. Because if my mind works and physically I'm not working, I still have something. I still feel I have something to offer society. If I'm physically here and my mind is gone, I feel like I have nothing to offer society. That's the difference. Yeah. People are like, oh, if you become a quadriplegic Christopher Reeves. I was like, you know what? I've set myself up financially where that will not put a burden on anybody around me. So as long as I'm not a burden on anybody around me, but yet I can still be effective and add value to humanity, I'll do that. If I'm physically fine and my brain stops working, I won't know it anyway, so y'all do with me what you wish. But I got that shit spelled out in my living will to a T. So that, because, and honestly, people should do that so their families don't have to make decisions. Because number one reason why families fight.
They still gonna fight, but
for me, the last person that gets to make any decisions for me is my mother, because she will do whatever it takes to have me here kicking and doing what I do. You
heard that?
Oh, they know that.
She know.
There's a whole list, and then she's at the bottom. You don't get to make this decision, player. But yeah, people may say this is a morbid topic, but it's not. It's a fact of life topic.
It's a fact of life that we avoid talking about.
That we will all experience at some point.
Exactly. And if we don't get clear, you're making matters worse if you don't get clear on it.
Well, talking about it makes it easier for you to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because you've refused to face it or talk about it your entire life means you will never be okay when it's time, and it's going to make everybody and everything around you worse off. And so my advice to people, if they want to learn how to be okay, find something to believe in, whatever that is. Find something to believe in, and then try to understand your purpose. People who are afraid to die have no purpose. Well, I shouldn't say have no purpose, haven't realized their purpose. And because they're not living in their purpose, they feel like I haven't reached it yet. And that's people 50, 60, 70, 80 years old.
Absolutely.
And so you want to get to a point where you don't think about it anymore. Because I don't think about it, because I'm like, it's over there now. I've spent enough time thinking about it, so I don't have to think about it anymore. I allowed myself to wrap my head around it. And so once you start living your life on purpose, then you don't feel like you've missed anything.
But I want to help them understand that when you say live your life on purpose, whatever that is that you're believing in, he's trying to truly say living in that purpose.
Yes.
Like singular focus driven within. Everything else becomes faint.
Yeah.
The fear of anything happening, because
the fear of loss goes away because you're a loss of anything. If you're living in your purpose, you don't fear losing your job, because if your job is your purpose, then you will easily find another job in your purpose because you're living in that space. Yeah. If you're living in your purpose, fearing the loss of a relationship just means that person who you're losing wasn't in line with your purpose. So you probably needed to lose that person anyway. Stay focused on your purpose, and loss of everything else won't matter as much.
Everything will fall in line when you stay in line with purpose. The death will not have as much volume.
It'll be a quiet little background noise. When you're not living on purpose, or living in your purpose, everything seems to speed up. Time doesn't stand still anymore. Time starts, because as it's ticking away, you figure you're losing out because you haven't reached where you want to go yet. Once you're living in that space and living in your life on purpose and in your purpose, you're now just being, and you're cruising. You don't think about the concept of time because you're there. You've arrived to where you need to be.
Time is arbitrary.
And now you're just growing again in that purpose.
Yeah. Time becomes very arbitrary.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked at how arbitrary it becomes. It's like when you start waking up in the middle of the night working on whatever it is, because the thought is clear. You're driving, you pull over because your thoughts are clear. You're not worried about, can I get to the next destination? I got to get to this job. Oh my God, and then I got to take care of it. And I got to work. You're not worried about anything.
You're not worried about, I got to reach retirement.
Right.
You're not worried about, I need a vacation. At what point does anybody need a vacation from their purpose? You don't.
No.
People tell me all the time, I want you to take time off. Why do you want me to take time off? Because if you were in my position, you would need the time off. And the only reason why is because this isn't your purpose.
Yeah.
I go to work every day because it's my purpose to be and do what I'm doing. I don't need vacation from that. When I am taking time away from that and doing something else, my mind is back on what I need to be doing, because I understand that it's taking me a little bit of a left turn to go back right.
Yeah.
So I understand what slowing down means, and taking a break doesn't mean I'm no longer on purpose. It just means that I'm recharging to get purposeful.
Yeah.
Again.
But the thing is, when you're going on break, that is your opportunity to, your purpose is allowing you to experience other things in life.
Yeah. But I'm still working on it here, which is great.
Yeah.
Because it allows me to focus more on, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
Oh, I could do this. I could do that.
Yeah.
Doing this podcast
Absolutely.
is part of my purpose.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's going to have their own thing. Everybody's going to have. And what's funny, if you tap into as much as you can your subconscious desires, you'll understand what your purpose is better. People, how do you tap into the subconscious? The little shit that's nagging you and you don't know why it is, explore it. Mm-hmm. Explore what that thing is that you can't quite put your finger on.
That dream that you have in the middle of the night of you either, mine is falling off a cliff, or it's going up in the air like I hit a ramp. I'm driving, I hit a ramp, and I'm going up, and I never see down. I need to go a little harder in what I'm doing. That's all it's saying.
Yeah, and you'll interpret those things the way that it best suits you.
Yeah.
You know, stop looking to other people to tell you how you should live your life. Stop looking to other people to tell you what your purpose should be. We live in a society where people want to be told who they are. They want to be told what they should be doing because they're afraid to figure it out on their own. And that's the shitty part.
Critical thinking. Nobody wants to think anymore, man. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to think anymore. They want to be given the answers. It's like you're going in, you know you're taking the final exam. You didn't study, but you're waiting, looking around like, what's A? What's number 1? What's number 3? What's number 5? Is it A or C?
Right.
I don't know, fool. You should have studied.
Right? Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a wild topic. People should not be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not taboo. It's not, it's the dark. We shouldn't talk about death. It's morbid. It's not.
It really isn't.
There's two things that are for sure in life. You're born and you die.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You have no problem talking about the joys of bringing life into the world. But yet we fear talking about the thing that's inevitable, that transformation to the next birth.
Yeah.
Think of it like that, and then you won't fear death.
And I also think that talking about death, once you're able to talk about it clearly, have your own personal understanding of it, it opens the platform to life.
Yeah,
like your current life, it becomes, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to pursue?
What do they tell people to do when they're afraid of something? Face it.
Face it.
So the more you talk about it, the less you fear it, the less scary it becomes.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
That volume starts to decrease.
If you talk about it so much, and like I said, just because you talk about it doesn't mean you're ready for it. Nobody's ready for it. And nobody should want to be ready for it. No. Fuck that noise. I'm not ready. I got shit to do.
I mean, think about that CEO.
Yeah.
Think he was ready for it?
He had shit to do.
He was on his way to a meeting.
He's about to go crush some more dreams.
Too soon? Yikes.
I don't care. But yeah, I'll leave this with you guys and we can start to wrap this up. Learn how to live so you won't be afraid to die. It's that simple, man. Learn how to live. Whatever that means to you, whatever living means to you, learn how to live.
And I got one for you too, and I've said it before in the past. You want to start living? Kill off a little bit of your old self every single day so you can start rebirth, new life. Just die to yourself every single day. I promise you, new beginnings are right there waiting on you. Right there. The moment you kill off a little bit of your old self.
And that fear will go. That fear, literally, It will go away. That fear will not be there.
Yeah, and that came from the church. That's what they talk about all the time.
Seriously, that fear will not be there. Yeah, man, this is a good one.
Yeah,
I think we talked about having this conversation a long time ago. And when was the right time? The right time was when it hit.
Yeah,
you know. Coach, where they gonna find you at, man?
They're going to find me at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com.
Y'all gonna find me at Lionel Hunt on IG, and you're gonna find me at huntspine.com. Please go. It's the holiday season. Go check out the huntfoundation.org. The Hunt, HUNT Foundation.org. You have to put the in there. Lot going on, big projects, taking care of kids, man. That's kind of our main focus at the moment. Kids and families. Healthcare, education, all of that.
You know why? Because Lele like the kids.
I am not R. Kelly. But anyway, meet us here every week, 6 a.m. on Wednesdays, 11 o'clock on Saturdays for the warm-up show. Come get your medicine, y'all. And with that, y'all, we out.